Is religion a product of human evolution, or did a divine force craft this vast universe and send prophets to guide us? Today we'll explore both sides of this debate, look at some fascinating historical references, and investigate evidence that might change the way we see religion itself. Believe me, by the end of this video, you are going to have a different perspective about this topic. Before starting the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay tuned with deep exploration of this journey. Let's rewind time for a second. Imagine, around 2.5 million years ago, humans lived in caves. Now, these early humans were not that much different from other animals. They were just searching for food, reproducing, and eventually, dying. But over time, human consciousness began to evolve. Fast forward a few 100,000 years, and Homo erectus is the first human ancestor to control fire, about 1.5 million years ago. It's an exciting moment in the history because fire allowed humans to cook, stay warm, and protect themselves from wild animals. But here's the real question. At what point did humans begin to question their existence and the world around them? When did they start to wonder, where do we come from? Why are we here? And what happens after we die? Well, let's explore a few ancient creation stories and religious texts that might give us some clues. The first story comes from Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. According to these religions, God created humans in His own image. The Bible tells us that God created Adam in paradise, and from Adam's rib, He created Eve, his companion. But what happened next? Adam and Eve disobeyed God by eating from the forbidden tree, and as a consequence, they were cast out of paradise. This story has been passed down for thousands of years, shaping much of Western theology. There is another most fascinating concept about the evolving of life and religion is in Sanatana Dharma. In Sanatana Dharma, also known as Hinduism, creation is viewed very differently. Instead of a single act of creation, we find the concept of avatars. Lord Vishnu, one of the principal deities in Hinduism, is said to have descended to earth in 10 different avatars to restore balance. It starts with Matsya, the fish, and continues with Kurma, the tortoise. Then, you've got Varaha, the boar, and Narasimha, the half-man, half-lion. And yes, later avatars like Lord Ram and Lord Krishna are also considered forms of Vishnu. Isn't that fascinating? It almost seems to align with what modern science says about evolution and adaptation over time. Rather than a single divine moment of creation, Hinduism views life as an eternal cycle of rebirth and ultimately finding moksha, the liberation. There are some amazing historical discoveries that might give us a clearer picture of when religion began. First, there's the grave of Sun here in Russia. This grave is about 30,000 years old, and inside it, we find not just human remains, but also tools, animal bones, and artifacts. These findings suggest that the people who were buried there believed in life after death, a strong indicator of early religious beliefs. Let's talk about the Venus figurines. These small sculptures were discovered in Austria in 1908, and they're believed to be 25,000 years old. The figures are often interpreted as representations of fertility goddesses. What's even more mind-blowing is that similar figurines have been found all over Europe, and their carbon dating places them between 40,000 and 25,000 years ago. So, what does this tell us? It suggests that, even back then, humans were connecting their beliefs to life, fertility, and the afterlife. But wait, there's more. The ancient Egyptians and their pyramid texts, which are over 2,500 years old. These texts, found within the Great Pyramid of Giza, contain references to gods, immortality, and the afterlife. The Egyptians were obsessed with life after death and believed in a journey to the afterlife that involved judgment and divine intervention. And then, there's the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known works of literature, dating back to around 2000 BCE. It's packed with references to immortality, gods, and the idea of an afterlife. Gilgamesh, the hero of the story, goes on a journey seeking immortality after the death of his friend, Enkidu. The message of the story is that the death is inevitable, and the only thing humans can truly control is how they live their lives. As you can see, early humans seem to worship many gods, a belief system we call polytheism. People worship the forces of nature, the god of rain, the god of the sun, the goddess of fertility. They were trying to make sense of the world and the forces that controlled their lives. But over time, some religions evolved into monotheistic systems. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism all teach that there is only one God. These religions claim that God revealed himself through prophets and provided a clear purpose for human life. However, as we discussed earlier, the oldest religious texts in these monotheistic traditions, like the Old Testament, date back to around 1300 BCE. And here's where things get interesting: eternal hell. Hell in these religions is reserved for those who don't follow their teachings. But here's the controversial part: believers in these religions think that they'll escape hell eventually, while non-believers are condemned forever. That's a tough one to wrap your head around, isn't it? So, what do you think? Is religion just a natural product of human development, or is it the creation of a higher power? Many argue that, since millions of people follow these beliefs, there must be some purpose behind them. But then, there's the psychological angle. Could it be that humans are simply driven by fear and social pressure to believe in these concepts? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and let's have an open discussion about whether religion is a reflection of human evolution or the will of a divine creator. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into these fascinating questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.